See this, which of the following functions, okay, which of the following relations on set A is a function, and set A is given as a set containing 3 elements A, B, C, and then some relations are given. Now which of them is a function? Now let's see this one. First one, we have elements A, B, C. For A, image is B. For B, image is C. Again for A, image is C. Now if you observe this, for the same element A, we are having more than one images, which means we have 2 images here. Therefore this cannot be definitely a function, because for every element we are supposed to have exactly one image, but here we are having 2 images, right? And if you observe the next one, for A, image is A. For B, image is C. But for C, there is no image, which means for all the elements we are not having images. Therefore it is not a function. Now if you observe this one, for A there is an image, for B there is an image, for C there is an image, and exactly one image is there, and so C is a function. Now let's look at the next one. State the following, if the following are true or false. So how to find out whether the following are true or false? See this, there exists an equivalence relation which is a function. So is there any equivalence relation that you know which is exactly a function? Just think about it. Let us say capital A equal to 1, 2, 3. What equivalence relation can you think of which is also going to be a function? If it has to be equivalence relation, it has to be reflexive, symmetric and transitive, that we know, right? Now if it has to be reflexive, definitely it should contain 1, 1, 2, 2 and 3, 3. This is the smallest equivalence relation, isn't it? Now if you observe this equivalence relation, it is also a function, isn't it? Why? Because 1 is having exactly one image, 2 is having exactly one image, and 3 is having exactly one image. Every element in A is having an image and exactly one image, therefore we can say that it is a function, right? So this is an example of equivalence relation which is a function. Now if you try to add any more elements into this, then it will not become a function, because if you try to add any other element, you will try to give more than one image for an element. Therefore this is the only relation or only equivalence relation which is a function. Yes, there exists an equivalence relation which is a function. There exists at least one, right? So S1 is true. Now look at the second one. The functions f of x equal to x and g of x equal to x square are identical. So they are saying that f of x equal to x and g of x equal to root of x square is identical. So let's see this. Now if you look at f of x, if you take the element x equal to 1, then it is going to map 1 to 1 itself. If you take element minus 1, it is going to map minus 1 to minus 1 itself, because f of x equal to x. But if you look at this g of x, it is going to map 1 to 1, fine, as well as minus 1 will also be mapped to 1. The reason is, if you take minus 1 square here, this one, you are going to get 1, and root of 1 is 1 itself, square root of 1 is 1 itself. So in g of x, all the negative numbers will be mapped to positive numbers, but in f of x, all the negative numbers will be mapped to negative numbers and positive numbers will be mapped to positive numbers. Therefore definitely they are not identical, right? So they are not identical, it is false. Now look at the next one. F of x equal to log x square base c and g of x equal to 2 log x base c are identical. They are saying that these two are identical, but they are not identical at all. The reason is, if you observe this one, here x can be anything. X can be anything other than 0. Except 0, x can take any value, either positive values or negative values, both are allowed. You can give x equal to 1 as well as x equal to minus 1, but here you cannot give x equal to minus 1, which means it is defined for all the values other than 0, but it is defined for only positive numbers. Therefore these two are not identical, it is false. Now look at this one. The domain of the function f of x equal to 1 by square root of this is mod x minus x is minus infinity to 0. So they are saying that this function will accept only negative numbers. This particular function will accept only negative numbers. Let's analyze that. What happens? Okay, so in order to analyze this, you should understand what is mod x, and we know that this mod x is actually x when x is greater than 0, and it is minus x when x is less than 0, and of course it is 0 when x equal to 0, right? Now what happens is, when x is greater than 0, it is going to be x. So if you try to define this function for x greater than 0, then what happens is 1 by square root of, in place of mod x I am placing x minus x, which is nothing but 1 by 0. Therefore for positive values x is not defined, but for negative values what happens is, when x is less than 0, it is going to be minus x, because mod x equal to minus x when x is less than 0. Then it is going to be 1 by square root of minus 2x, right? But since x is less than 0, this entire minus 2x is going to be positive, and so it is defined, right? But anyway x is not defined for 0, so x is not defined for 0 or positive numbers, but x is defined for all the negative numbers, and so it is true. The domain of this one is f of x equal to this is true. Okay, fine.
Hi, if you are planning to do masters, then doing masters abroad is better than doing masters in India. I'll give you all the reasons. So first reason is, out of 1 lakh students who take GATE every year, there are only 500 seats in old IITs. So all the IITs put together have an acceptance rate of 0.5%, and IITs, universities better than IITs, they have very good acceptance rate like 30%, 40%, but all the IITs put together have an acceptance rate of 0.5%. And if you are working hard to get into IIT Bombay's ranking is 177 and IIT Roorkee's ranking is 400. If you are happy to get into IIT Roorkee, then getting into universities better than IIT Roorkee is easier compared to getting into IIT Roorkee. And looking at the salaries for computer science, for software jobs, if you have done your masters in computer science in US, the salaries are ranging from 80 lakhs per year to 1.2 crore per year. So even if you take an average of 1 crore per year, your savings will be much higher than the salaries in India. After taxes and your cost of living, you can easily save 40 to 50 lakhs per year. And in India, the maximum jobs that you get is around 30 lakhs. So your savings will be much greater than the salaries in India. And these are all the services that we provide. University shortlisting. So depending on your profile, we will shortlist what are the universities that you have to apply, and statement of purpose building, and then LOR guidance, and GRE and English test assistance, and education loan assistance. So you don't have to have any collateral, which means without any security, now you can get education loan. Getting education loan is very simple these days, and whatever the amount of fee that you have a range of universities. You can apply for 10 lakh universities, 20 lakh universities, or 50 lakh universities. But whatever it is, you are going to get complete education loan, and you can pay off your education loan in 1 year after you get a job. And then we do visa assistance, mock visa interviews, and then connecting with the university alumni. So now you might ask why we should join Game of Visas. So the answer is, we have 90% success rate, 99% success rate. And these are all the destinations that we guide the students to. So we guide students to any country that you want to go. So now it is not just USA. We guide to UK, Germany, Australia, Canada. So we guide students to all the countries. We work with all the destinations. And if you are interested in going abroad, you have to just drop us a message on this WhatsApp number 9494 555 454. Okay, thank you.